All right, so we're live here. So we have Emmanuel, the Contrarian Investor from the Emmanuel Finance YouTube channel. So we're here to talk
Yes,
about
sir.
the chef today. Welcome, man.
Yes, sir. How you doing, my brother? We're
I'm
here to
really
talk about one of my favorite topics, man. Honestly. How long you got? Have you got like 2 hours, 3 hours?
no problem, man. We'll just go see where we take this. I'm really happy to have you here on the channel. We've been talking a couple of weeks now to try to make this happen, and finally we have this opportunity. So I'm really happy about that.
100%. No, thank you so much for the invite, bro. I'm happy to be on the channel. I love your channel, by the way. I love the way you've streamlined your channel to, like you've concentrated it down to quality. It's got a theme, and I think that's you've got a great channel there. And obviously, your subscribers love you, so it's all good.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm looking at your channel. We can just show the viewers here directly, Emmanuel Finance. Yeah, I see you growing like crazy now. And especially, I think, in the last week or so. I mean, it was under 15 not long ago. And then, like, boom, it just flew up.
Boom. When there's trouble in paradise, that's when the subscribership grows.
Exactly. So there's always, I guess, when you're working with this, you can play both fields, right? When it's good or bad. So
yeah.
So it's but no, I'm really not been looking forward to this, and so I just thought before we start talking about the chef, the tattoo chef, let's introduce you a little to the people who don't know you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jesse, bro, for having me on your channel. My name's Emmanuel. Emmanuel Finance, my YouTube channel. I like to call myself Emmanuel The Contrarian Investor because I love investing. I love to buy on red days. I love red days. My Discord know me as, the guy that loves red days. I'm that guy where everyone's running away. I'm running to the chaos. I love, buying from pessimists. I love selling to optimists. And yeah, I mean, in terms of investing, I've been investing properly for 2 years now. 2019, I started investing properly, but I've been in the game since 2016. So at the time, I thought I was investing, but I really was trading. Do you know what I'm saying? I got into the game. You may have seen his adverts, Timothy Sykes. He's always on all YouTube adverts. So I got introduced into the game by Timothy Sykes. Did some of his courses, did the trading, day trading here and for. In the end, I'll probably say over that first initial 3 years, maybe break even at best in terms of the amount of trades I was winning and losing.
I'm thinking that's better than a lot of people, actually. Yeah,
so you really get absorbed by a few wins, but then the losses rack up. Even though they're like cut losses quickly, it racks up. It took a lot of your time and effort. And then I was like, there must be a better way to this, because I'm looking at the Forbes list. You're seeing Warren Buffett, always number one. You see, or Charlie Munger, all these guys. You're like, man, there must be a method to this madness. Like they've obviously cracked how to win this game. Exactly. So then I started reading. My first book was The Intelligent Investor. I have that right here. I have all my books like within reach. Then that was a big read. That was quite complicated to get started with. Then the next was Peter Lynch's One Up on Wall Street.
Yeah, I love him.
That one's actually in my bedside. Have I got it?
Yeah,
that's like my second Bible.
you talked about that a couple of times, and you recommended it. So I actually started getting it. When you talked about it, it really resonated. So I started reading it more myself again. So
nice. What do you think of the book? What do you think of it?
I haven't actually finished the book yet, but what I'm getting at so far, I'm a historian. I've been reading I don't know how many books in my life, but when it comes to investment, I'm still myself pretty new. I started in the end of 2019 getting into Tesla. So
not a bad time to get.
It wasn't actually. So when I got into that, I felt like it's time to really start taking this serious. So I started reading more and more. But there's so many different ways and avenues to get information today, right? So I really love to listen to interviews with famous investors, and I love Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, Shamat Palihapitiya. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Hey, the SPAC, they call him SPAC, the SPAC God, something like that,
SPAC
right?
God or SPAC King. Yeah,
SPAC King.
So he's one I really resonate with him because he actually, you remind me of him when you always talking about the chef when you're saying we and we're and because you actually it resonates with exactly what he's been saying, and he said that for years, that he doesn't invest in stocks, or he doesn't buy stocks, he buys companies, right?
Facts.
So I mean, if you have that mentality as you do and I do, I think it's going to be easier to understand your company, because then you really want to know, you want to do your due diligence, right? You want to know that it's the right CEO that's sitting there. You want to know their future vision, their fundamentals. It's all important because it's yours, right?
It's mine.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, honestly, that people are like, oh, how we get so excited about stocks? I'm like, yo, I don't see them as tickers. That's the thing. A lot of people see them as ticker symbols, up and down the gyrations and stuff, and that's what they associate their investment to. Yeah. I associate my investment to a company that I'm a part owner. Do you get what I'm saying? This is what I think a lot of the newbie investors fail to realize. Right. And they're like, oh, what's your price target? I don't have a price target. Like, this is my business.
Yeah.
And I want to see this business do well over time. And I know, as Peter Lynch always preaches, that the stock price follows the earnings. So if the earnings are doing well over time, then of course the value of my ownership of the business will appreciate over time. Exactly. So I'm not caught up in the day-to-day gyrations of the stock price or tickers. I don't see, Tattoo Chef as a ticker at all, or my major holdings as tickers. I see them as businesses that I own, which is why when I speak about them on my channel, it's almost natural to say, oh, we've launched a new pizza product, we've done this, or we've expanded, or we've got the foods of New Mexico. It's it's not them. It's
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm heavily involved.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that, because that is my whole philosophy. I've talked about that many times on my channel. Yet I think I still haven't gotten that down on the channel, using that phrase "we." I think I'll have to learn that from you the more I watch your channel. Sure.
Because the thing as well, bro, like, when you invest so much, okay, so first of all, it's one thing investing your money, right, okay, into these businesses. And then when you invest your time, you're essentially investing part of your life into this business. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, I'm absorbed by, like, my top 4 holdings. You get what I'm saying? I'm absorbed by almost everything about them, to a point whereby if anything negative comes out, it's almost like an attack on me. And I, but at the same time, you have to be cautious, because you don't want to fall in love so much with a company where you become, where you're in love, but they say love is blind, right? So if there are red flags, which I'm sure we're going to go into later on, you still want to be open-minded to the possibility that, look, you may have got it wrong.
Right.
So, so I've invested my money, my time, study, everything, so it's fully mine.
And it's basically
it's mine and Sam's.
Exactly. But it's like what Warren Buffett is basically preaching, and been doing that for the last 50, 60 years, that the first rule of investing is not to lose money. And the second rule is listen to rule number 1. So
facts.
So, but I think
that's easier said than done, though. That's very easy to say.
It is, and I think a lot of people misunderstand what losing money actually means, because I mean, if it is a company that you really believe in long term, just because it goes down, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been minus on the chef, right? But I'm not losing money because I'm not selling off, right?
Facts. So this is what I think people associate, seeing red, them losing. Oh, I've lost. You lose when you sell. Yeah. When you it's like the unrealized losses, because you haven't sold, so it's not a reality. It's all. I don't know if you've watched The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, but at the beginning, when I was being interviewed with the guy that was pounding the chest, he was saying, like, it's not real, it's a fugazi, it's that's what it is. Like, and he was saying that, you keep them on the wheel, you don't let them sell. Even if they sell, you push them in another product. It's because you're in the game, So it's when people say, "Oh, I've lost my," have you sold? No, you haven't lost anything.
Exactly.
It's fugazi,
Yeah. Fugazi. I like that word, fugazi.
You remember that scene, bro? Do you remember it from the
so
Wall Street?
So if we go into the chef, then, so basically, I
Yo,
mean, if people watch your channel, they probably know this by now, but I'm sure not everyone. I do believe quite a lot of my viewers actually know about you. Yesterday I asked on my community page, I asked, would you like if I started having some collab with a YouTuber out there regarding the chef? And it didn't take long before people said you should do it with Emmanuel. It's like, yes, I didn't even mention your
bro,
name. I was thinking about you, of course, but
bro, the community is strong. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, and the one thing I like about the tattoo chef community is this is a long-term play for all of us, or most of us.
yeah,
Unlike, you know, the Dogecoin community or the AMC apes community, where that's a fad, that's gonna come and go.
yeah.
Like, this community is here to stay. Do
Oh
you get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
And you know, there's certain people who are voice pieces, I think, of the community. You're definitely one of them.
Oh, definitely
I'm
you,
one
man.
of them. You know, Jeremy. You know, Jeremy was a big Meet Kevin used to be, but he sold out.
Yeah.
Paper hander.
I never understood. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Meet Kevin. I learned a lot from him. I never understood
100%.
what he said several months ago when he basically said that just because the restaurants are going to open up or the pandemic's going to go, you know, start to cool down, then frozen food is not going to be interesting. And I'm like, how does that make sense? We've had frozen food for, I don't know, over 100 years. And it's what people do today, right?
Yeah. The thing is, bro, sometimes I think one criticism I'll say of Kevin, I love the guy, I watch him every day. He's got too many stocks in his portfolio. He's got too many.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes, you know, if you've not concentrated your portfolio, which I'm learning from John Templeton, you know, Christopher Meyer, you know, you got to bet big on your best ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Kevin would defend Tesla to the death, I'm saying, because he's got so much involved. Whereas the other companies are just small positions, and you can almost talk yourself out of those positions.
Yeah.
And I think exactly what he did, Tattoo Chef, he just talked himself out of it.
Yeah.
And I think in a way, maybe Rob as well, from the Popular Investor. You know, sometimes you can over rationalize, you know, paralysis by analysis, and then eventually just get out of a position that you know, you might regret years to come. But yeah.
So since we're talking about Rob the Popular Investor, so like, what's going on there, right?
Go.
So it's like I mean, when I saw your video in the evening there, first I think it was on Wednesday night, 2 days ago. I think Rob came out with the first video, and I was like, oh shit, cool. Sorry. Then I thought, like, okay, I need to watch this movie, watch this video. But I thought I'll just wait an hour or something, just relax first. And then when I went back, and it's like, where is it? It's like it's disappeared, and it came a new one.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually. So my Discord were talking about Rob's first video. I didn't get a chance to see it. So I went on his channel and realized, I was like, what video are you talking about? They're like, oh, he's deleted it. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So apparently when the second video came out, you like you said, when I listened to you, you had seen it like 5 times or something like that, and that's 100%. Taking it serious. And I love that. And then when he explained in the beginning, it seemed like he got a lot of hate, and obviously I don't think he deserves that. I mean, even though you're a hardcore Tattoo Chef fan, and I think a lot of us are in our own ways, in our own rights, but I don't think anyone deserves that, obviously. But then when I started watching it, and then first I listened to it in the car. I usually listen to it in the morning when I'm driving the car. I have about 40 minutes one way. I couldn't watch what he was talking about, you know, the SEC filings and so. So first I was, didn't get the whole picture. But then after, when I watched it a couple of times again, it just made sense, and it resonated with what you said. And I just felt like I have to try to not go in too harsh on the guy, because I do respect him so much, massive respect for the dude. I couldn't. I mean, first of all, he's talking about the CFO leaving, right? Yeah. I wish he did already in April. So me personally, I also got this letter that I was planning to come out with the letter that they responded with, but like you said, it's a generic one. It's one that they give to everyone. I think the only thing that changes.
I can imagine they were very busy that
Yeah,
day.
definitely. I think they just changed the name to the person.
Yeah.
I guess I should be lucky that it didn't say Highlander or something like that. So
Exactly.
yes. So, but I was. I mean, so I don't. I'm not. I'm still not sure. I mean, when it comes to the CFO leaving, and the letter where it said like it says something like Chuck chose to resign and it was not based on a disagreement with the company and has nothing to do with the company's financials, policies, or procedures. And that got me thinking a little that it just feels like some people have stated that he was only supposed to be there, Chuck, for like 9 months or something during this SPAC transition. That's what several people have stated. But then when they phrase it this way, that he chose to resign, that kind of also gives you an idea. Like, first of all, me personally, because like you, this is such a wonderful company. So, and I want to talk about it later if we could see this as a generational company, right? So I'm thinking if you have that position there, right, why would you ever leave willingly, right? Depending, obviously, and when they're phrasing it, that chose to resign. For me, it was like if it was a contract, it's a contract, right? It's not about choosing. You just that's it. You move on. So what's your take on that?
So I mean, I went back because Chuck did an interview a couple of months ago when it was still a SPAC, when TTCF was still FMCI. Did an interview with a guy on YouTube called Lincoln Daniel.
Yep. I watched him a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, him and Rachel did that interview, and I went back and watched that interview again on the night of when Rob released his video. And I fast forward, I think it's like minute 33 or minute 33. That's how I watched it over and over again. Just really trying to understand because he spoke about Tattooed Chef, and he spoke about the company and his role with. To me, obviously, I'm not a body language or speech expert or anything like that, but it didn't sound like he was planning to be there from a temporary basis.
No.
From that interview, he was talking about, taking a lot of the financial pressures off of Sam. He said he's been in the corporates, he's been in Wall Street, dealt with companies. He has all the experience, and he said, Sam doesn't have that experience. So it's really coming from a point of view whereby, look, I'm, an integral part of this team. I know my position. I know how to play my position. And, he's fortunate that the CEO and the team can let him focus on that. Yeah. And then they can focus on the creative side of the business. And I was like, okay, so that sounded like that came from someone I don't think was going to be there temporary. No. You know what I'm saying? Because he spoke about, he really did sound like he cared for the company and cared for the leadership.
Yeah.
So that was what I got going back to the previous interviews recently. Yeah. But then when I watched Rob's video again and then saw he had started his own business or his own what was it? He started something anyways, like consultancy or something like that. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, maybe things change because at the end of the day, sometimes you might not necessarily want to be employed the rest of your life. You want to go out and take a risk. I understand where Rob kind of used it, like, why would you walk away from millions of dollars to go and start your own business knowing that you're going to be at a loss? Yeah. But then, we don't know what he has in his bank account. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't know whether I'm sure with his experience, he's been in the game for many years. Yeah. I'm sure he's set. I would imagine he's set in terms of passive income. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So if for him to turn away $1 million or 10 million or whatever it equated to, again, it's speculation. We speculation. And who's to say maybe he wanted to start his own thing? Why is that such a bad thing? Why does that mean he got fired? Why does that mean they left on bad terms? The fact that he went out to start his own consultancy business.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's all speculative. Do you get what I'm saying? And
it is.
We can all try and, decipher and decode. And I think a few Tattoo Chef shareholders were talking about they're going to message him and LinkedIn personally. I'm just like, okay, you do you. I'm not doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? People are asking me to do it as well. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. People are like, oh, I should ask him to come on my channel for an interview. I'm just like, no, I am not doing that. Do you know what I mean?
But it's the same thing about because it actually does seem. I was wondering, like, how is Rob reacting now after he got that message, probably from them as well, from the investor relations, Rachel. Was it Rachel, right?
Yeah.
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 And I was thinking, well, maybe he'll just go out then and just say, okay, I might be wrong then. But he actually seems to be sticking to his guns because I looked this.
He has to.
Yeah,
He has to.
I looked at this community page today, and he goes into details about the letter, and he's still kind of still talking about taxation and bribery, and he's not saying that that's what happens, but he is sticking with his gun. It's like you said, I guess he has to, because it won't look good otherwise when you go out so strongly about something like this. So
Facts. Especially when he sold out of Beyond Meat as well for again reasons. I'm not invested in Beyond Meat, but I listen to that video. I'm just like, you can really, in this game, you can really talk yourself out of positions. But at the end of the day, bro, we have to also remember one thing that he said that I really respected is that he's not just his portfolio. It's not just his money now. It's the copiers.
Exactly.
It's the people who are investing their life savings in his decision making.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that's like. I mean, I know people follow us on YouTube and whatnot, and people sometimes don't do their own due diligence, but that's you. Do you know what I'm saying? That's your decision to not do your own due diligence and know what I've done.
Exactly.
But with him, like, he's getting paid, to make investing decisions on behalf of people who are trusting him with their money.
A subscriber told me that today, like on this eToro page that he has like 4,000 people that follow him. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of people's money, right? So So I guess in that way, and the way he phrased it in his video, I do respect the man for that. That is his bread and butter. Is for not only him, but for his family, right? So he's not willing to take that risk. I mean, if it doesn't resonate with him, I respect that. I talked to my girlfriend about that yesterday, and she's like, she's into stocks too, to some extent, but she doesn't keep up the way I do. And when I talked about what Rob said, she was like, but if it is shady, should we not really, think about like maybe doing the same? And I'm like, no, trust me, I feel good about this. I wouldn't risk our money either. It's like so, but the thing is,
I mean, TTCF takes up 33% of my growth portfolio.
Whoa,
that's bullish. Like, I've really decided, reading 100 baggers, even Warren Buffett, when you look at I looked at the 13F that they filed recently on Well Wisdom, he's 40% in Apple right now. The whole Berkshire portfolio, there's a lot of other stocks in there, but you look at the weighting, he's currently 40% in Apple. He's got a record and said
there's so much misunderstanding when it comes to Warren Buffett, because everyone talks about diversify and putting it in the S&P 500, being part of either they're like 500 companies, or like having a portfolio that's 40, 50 stocks. And I always say on my channel, I don't resonate with that at all, because people are like, Warren Buffett said be diversified. Well, he's running a billion dollar thing, and he has people's money like Rob, but in a huger way, of course. He has responsibilities. But he has stated, and I've talked about that in my video, that if he could choose just for himself and his family, he would look at maybe 3 companies. And he would focus on really 3 good companies, keep reinvesting in them basically his whole life. And I do agree with you. You could probably see the Chef as one of those companies. So no doubt.
Exactly. I'll never forget this quote, bet big on your best ideas.
Yeah.
And you will, the thing is, you will go through swings. Do you get what I'm saying? Because your portfolio is heavily weighted towards just a handful of stocks. But, when I read this book, Richer, Wiser, Happier, and, it covers 40 of the best people in investing over the last century who've consistently outperformed the S&P 500, by a factor of 10, 20, 30% returns, every year, compounded over 30, 40-year period.
Yeah.
And a lot of them was just a handful of stocks.
Yeah.
Really just a handful of stocks. And it's like, Peter Lynch says diversification, he calls it diversification, and, I think it was Charlie Munger that said diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's be real. Warren Buffett has gone on record many times and said most investors should just invest in the index. Do you know what I'm saying?
And I agree
just
with
keep
him.
it that way.
Yeah. Don't lose.
But for me, I love stock picking. I love researching companies. I love diving into a company, and if I really believe in it, let's go. So
totally, I agree with that. That really resonates with me. I do understand more and more why I resonate with your channel. So that's for sure. Yeah. So no, but I mean, it's also something else that I thought that Rob talked about in his response to this letter on his community page, that regarding the people who got money with, like, the people who were responsible for the M&A people, right? They got like 150 to 250,000 shares each, and he meant that he knew apparently two people who's been in that field together. They have like 5 decades of experience in the UK and Ireland, and they've never heard about this, that would ever happen. But funnily enough, I had a subscriber who actually said that he knew several people who is in that industry, who said that it's not super common, but it happens all the time. So so I think I don't think it's not really science-based fact that two people who haven't seen this before, right? So I think those kind of
represent the whole. Yeah, I mean, someone said that in my comment section as well. I pinned it in my video. He's got experience in that field. I pretty much debunked, So, like I said, bro, I don't know what it's like being in Rob's shoes.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, you're very extremely careful, and combing through all the details and everything, which you all have to do. But they're making decisions based on that, on assumptions, based on speculation. I personally, didn't buy it.
And I think it's totally fine, just because we're fellow YouTubers and we respect each other. We don't have to agree on everything, right? So that's 100%. The most important thing. We can learn from each other. Sometimes you learn better from people you don't have the same kind of ideas with. So I always preach about that in my channel. Like me personally, I'm vegan, and most people know that. That's why I'm focusing on. I don't only invest in total plant-based companies, but I always say that I want everyone, however you choose to live your life when it comes to diet, your philosophy, I want everyone to be here together, so we learn from each other, we respect each other. Otherwise, you're just part of a discourse, a bubble that you'll never learn from the other side, right? And you won't grow as a person in that way, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
So, but I also wanted to say here that I saw your video yesterday, and you made a video talking a little about one of the latest conference calls, right, with Oppenheimer.
Let's go. Yeah.
Share the good news.
I mean, where do I start? So I think it was Matt Williams, Stephanie Dykman, and it was Sam Galletti.
Yeah,
they were obviously presenting at the growth and e-commerce conference, and they just dropped bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. I mean, one of the things that I liked was their initial address of the size of the industry. So they said, look, the current growth rate of the industry is at double-digit rates. They gave a percentage. It was 20%. Okay. So the industry itself is growing almost like a growth stock at 20% year over year. So that's the plant-based food industry growth. I love the fact that they, started off like that.
Yeah.
And then they went into obviously more detail with regards to Tattooed Chef. They spoke about, we are now, let me bring it up so I don't give any misinformation.
Yeah.
But yeah, they highlighted a lot of things. They said that the plant-based pizza is actually the best-selling or the most popular selling product within the plant-based food industry.
Yeah.
And of course, we just launched 5 new pizzas a couple of months ago.
I was so happy
we
about
are really like, if that is the best-selling genre within the plant-based food industry, I mean, we've got enough, products ourselves, and they're flying off the shelves, according to the feedback we're getting. So that was exciting. Yeah. Then you had Stephanie that took over, and she spoke about the current expansion. So she spoke about our capacity in relation to Foods of New Mexico.
Yeah.
That that was I've forgotten the name of the two plants, but essentially that added to our California and
Carson
Italian
tortilla something.
Yeah, Carson tortilla, and there was another one, right?
New Mexico Foods or something. Yeah.
New Mexico Foods, you got it. Yeah. So I just call it Foods of New Mexico now.
Yeah.
Because but she said that in combination of all of these manufacturing capacities, that's increased our annual revenue to potentially or to support $500 million.
Wow, $500 million,
which is insane. $500 million, bro. And when you consider, it's quite funny because I recently looked at our investor presentation from when we were a SPAC.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think we generated like 143 million in like 2020 was what was expected. To now where we are, literally fast forward a couple of months later, and we now have the capacity to hit flipping $500 million.
Yeah.
That's insane. I'm sorry. That's insane.
I actually made
bro.
No, I actually made a video regarding that. I mean, I know it's speculative always and dangerous to talk too much about, what kind of stock price you can imagine. I just think it's fun. I always try to tell my viewers that this is more like fun and getting an idea, getting a feeling what we could expect. But the idea that when I've been talking about what kind of stock price they have, based on the $1 billion in revenue that they're expecting in a couple of years from now, like now
2026.
Yeah, exactly. But now when they have these New Mexico facilities with another 200 million just from them within 2 to 3 years, I mean that it actually tells us that we have no idea how much this could actually fly. I mean,
bro, and when the thing is, that's even scary is that we're not even factoring in expansion to Europe yet. Tattooed Chef, I announced in my video yesterday, they've launched a third product in the UK. Is the cauliflower stir fry. So all of these numbers is just based on North America. Like what the heck? What are we doing here?
And the funny thing is, I think Europe, my understanding when you look at the research anyways, and is that not only veganism, but plant-based eating in any form is actually bigger in Europe probably. And we have to, I think tend to forget that we have more than double the population than all of the US, right? We have about 750 million people. So, I mean, it's crazy amounts of people here who I do think are really interested and are open to trying something new. So,
Absolutely. And I think, one of the key things about Tattooed Chef and our company is that, our branding really stands out. Like I can see too many pictures for in shareholders in America who sent pictures of Target freezers, and you can see the other plant-based food packaging. They all look very similar, and then all of a sudden you have that white boom. It's almost like glowing Tattooed Chef products just stand out, takes the whole door, and you're like, my God. So the branding, from a branding point of view, nailed it. And it's definitely attracting customers because they keep coming back for it, and so I think in terms of the revenue, 1 billion by 2026, and we haven't really factored in European expansion yet, even Asia expansion. There's just the potential is really frightening. It's really frightening.
And I'm thinking also, like I talked about in another video a couple of months ago, is the potential for Latin America now when they're getting into Latino foods, like a lot more. I mean, Latin culture, I grew up with, for the last 20, 30 years with a lot of Latinos in the areas where I actually moved. I don't only apparently look like a Latino. I had a lot of Latino friends. So, and the interesting part here is that traditionally, a lot of Latin cultures do eat quite a lot of heavy plant-based food. I mean, not
Yeah.
because we're vegans. It's not about that, but it's part of their culture to eat that kind of food. And then you have a little meat every now and then, but for the
Yeah.
traditional population, anyways. That's my experience. That's my understanding. It's changing, of course, when people
Yeah.
get richer and richer. But I think that's interesting. I think that's an incredible market. I think Sam talked about that's a $20 billion market, just that in itself.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, with the new acquisitions as well, is we're stepping out from just being a freezer company, essentially, with the food service. It really is mind-boggling, and to think like we're all caught up so much on why Chuck left. It's really, it really kind of puts into perspective, how short-minded, how short-sighted,
Yeah.
investors can be.
Yeah.
And as a result of someone leaving based on a reason that you really don't fully understand, you're then going to throw away the potential of this company based on that.
Yeah, for me that's actually, I don't want to use the word insanity, but that's the only thing that actually gets to my mind right now. I mean, but again,
it's just lack of vision. It's lack of vision, and I think it's also not really knowing what you own. Tattoo Chef is a very popular stock on YouTube.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of views. A lot of people talk about it, that and Palantir. And a lot of people invest based on the hype. You really don't fully understand what you own and its potential. Because when I invest in a company, Peter Lynch always talks about when you invest in the business, you're investing with the idea or having the vision to see the market cap appreciate over time.
Yeah.
So if you can't, when I invest, I'm picturing, okay, where would this market cap be in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
And what are the steps we need to take to get there? And you can see it being mapped out. And even Stephanie helped us out yesterday 2 days ago at the Oppenheimer conference. She mapped out, we've got our plan to 1 billion. It's like she made it even clearer for me.
So that was actually one of my questions. So in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe longer, what kind of market cap do you expect to see? I know it's dangerous territory.
Easily 10 billion, easily. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like, I don't even have to hesitate. Like, easily 10 billion. If we're going to see 1 billion by 2026, well, it's 2021 now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just, and we've already known the management for Tattoo Chef. They love to be conservative. You know? So maybe this 1 billion is even conservative. I think it's conservative.
I actually do
5
also.
years.
Because I feel
what we've achieved in just a couple of months since since the merger to where we are now.
Yeah, because considering that the $1 billion in 2026, they've been talking about that for over half a year, way before these two new acquisitions. So, and now they're talking about another 200 million that's coming in 2 to 3 years. So you put that on an annual basis. I mean, I don't know. Could we talk about 1.2, 1.4, maybe 1.5? I mean, exactly. Speculation, obviously, but I think it seems more than fair, considering also where we're headed. Because I mean, whether you like to eat plant-based food or not, or you eat it every now and then, it's kind of impossible, I feel anyways. Obviously, I'm biased, but to see the paradigm shift where we're headed, and I think this is something that interests people more and more. No doubt.
Yeah, and for me, I'm excited to be a part of the industry. I'm excited to be in this industry that's growing at such alarming rates. And I feel like I've picked my a company. I've invested in a company that I believe will do well. I listened to Sam's interview again this morning.
Yeah.
It was on the MVC channel. Been interviewed by the Roth Capital guy. And you really, when you hear him speak, it's a family business. The guy's been doing it for 35 years. He's fully in it. Do you know what I'm saying? This is his life.
Yeah.
And you want that in your leader. You don't want just some random person that you hired because they've got a great CV to come in and run the show.
Yeah.
This is his baby. Do you know what I'm saying? He owns 39% of the company.
Yeah.
He's been doing, he started this years ago. His daughter brought in his daughter. His daughter gave the idea of, switching to plant-based food and the brand in Tattoo Chef.
Yeah.
So this is theirs. Do you know what I'm saying? And we've got the opportunity to be a part of this. And I just feel like to then, put him down to bribery.
Yeah, I mean
It really just didn't marry up, bro.
I think both of us have talked about that on our channels, and several of my subscribers said the same thing. It doesn't make sense. A guy with this much experience, like you said, this is his baby or his second baby, or third. I'm not sure, but hopefully. But and then that he would risk that, because this is to me, I thought you can also mention what you feel about it. I feel this could be a generational company, right? He and his family, they're going to be extremely wealthy. I mean, long term. Why would he ever risk that? I mean, it doesn't make sense. He knows what he's doing. Why take a chance like that? And the U.S. is quite, I mean, whatever people feel about the U.S., when it comes to stocks anyways, they're quite this... the SEC, they're pretty good at what they do, noticing these kind of shady activities. So, I mean...
Are you sure, bro? Did you hear about Lordstown's Motors recently?
Yeah,
right.
True. You got me on that.
I think a lot of companies got through the crack via the SPAC route.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? A lot of companies got through the crack. I think if it was another way, Lordstown's Motor wouldn't be able to hit the markets. I don't believe Nikola would have been able to hit the markets. So the SPAC route really opened the floodgate to these shady companies. Yeah. And of course, Tattooed Chef is a product of the SPAC route. Obviously. So it's again, you're always a bit on edge. And I think that's why Wall Street as well have not really flooded into Tattooed Chef yet. Yeah. They still want to give it a couple of years to prove itself.
But they are growing, though. I mean, I think in the last couple of months, I've seen it go from 8 to 12% institutional buy-ins. So that's pretty decent.
Still minor positions, bro. I think Vanguard still have just like maybe 1 million shares.
Yeah.
Like this is Vanguard, they go in heavy. So I think they're still, giving them time there, and that's giving us time. This is the thing that we don't realize. That's giving us retail investors time to fully solidify our position before these guys say, "Yep, we love this company. Let's go."
That's
once they stop. Go on, bro. Yeah,
that's what I always talk about. That I put a video a couple of months ago regarding the chef and what Kathy Wood was talking about short sellers and Tesla, and kind of equating it to the chef. That I think we should actually, us who are long termers anyway, we should be thankful for people shorting the stock, because we'll be investing it at great prices.
Incredible prices.
I mean, when it's at 50, 75, $100, I mean, people be crying that they didn't invest in these kind of prices. So
I honestly believe so. Once we begin to fully fulfill our potential, there's going to be a lot of demand from Wall Street. Institutions are going to absorb the outstanding shares. I'm sure Sam as well is going to eventually have to sell some of his shares to bring his position down, because he still is the whale in the company.
Oh yeah.
But again, I mean, that's why that book One Up on Wall Street really resonated with me, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to get ahead of Wall Street. It's no good investing once Wall Street's already in there, but you're paying high prices for those companies. But if you can get in, if you can one up on Wall Street, that's where exponential wealth can be had.
Yeah. No, definitely. So now, and what do you think about this other food items that they've talked about, right? That they might be moving into refrigerated food. And what do you feel about that? When do you think?
I think that's just opening up our addressable market. Do you get what I'm saying? That's just increasing our TAM. I'm all for it. I'm if it doesn't work out, great. At least we tried. Yeah. But I feel like we've established ourselves now in a certain sector, and it's good that we're branching out. So I own a company as well, Celsius Holdings. Yeah. They do energy drinks, but more targeted towards
my kids at school. They shouldn't be drinking energy drinks, but they're every chance they get when they're not at school, that they keep drinking that or similar. So yeah.
That's another booming industry that's continuing to grow double-digit rates, But they've recently expanded into like a powder form of their energy drink. So you dilute it in water, and I'm all for that. They also recently announced snacks, energy bars, Celsius energy bar, the fast bars. again, I'm all for that. Let's go. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just increasing our market, increasing revenue. And the thing is, I'm well prepared. You know, you have to be prepared for certain items, certain products to fail.
Yeah.
And, you know, as long as the company can learn from it and then adapt. I mean, Amazon, you know, Bezos said we will not, I'm going to quote Jeff Bezos when he says the reason why Amazon is where it is today is because of the billions of dollars of mistakes they've made in the past. So
exactly,
there you go.
So yeah, I totally believe in that. You get what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, basically. So
absolutely.
And I don't think any of these companies
say success is the destination, but failure is how you get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have this kind of I do a couple of times a week. I do Kung Fu Qigong. I have when I was younger, I trained a lot of martial arts, and I want to get back to that. And so I started doing Qigong. That is basically Kung Fu based. And I follow a monk, a Shaolin monk. And and I watch his, I usually use his video right now just to have something to follow. And in the end of that video, it says something like that there's two ways to mastery. And it's one is actually starting on a journey, and the other is not quitting, basically. So so I really, it was phrased a lot better than I actually said it. But
I can tell you're paraphrasing.
So that's basically how it was. But I was gonna ask you. So what do you feel about? And it's totally fine if you're not interested in that. But what do you feel about other plant-based stocks? You know, or companies like, for instance, Beyond Meat.
Nah. You know what? Yeah, let me give Beyond Meat some credit.
Yeah.
I think they're the trailblazers. You know, they are the trailblazers in this industry, and I think my people who follow me on Instagram will know this, because I was researching the company. I liked the look of the company. Of course, I already know about the industry, and the final decision was a taste test. So my local supermarket had the Beyond Burgers. So I went there. First of all, I was very annoyed at the price. It was extremely expensive. I paid like £5 for 2 patties. I'm like £2.50 for 1 patty.
They are expensive.
Really so I don't know whether that kind of made me that clouded my judgment. But I was really annoyed at how much I had to pay. But I thought, you know what? Okay, keep an open mind. Woosa. Maybe the burger is the best burger you ever have in your life. So my expectations were here. Right, going into this.
Yeah.
So I made the burger, tried it.
Not your cup of tea.
Flushed it down, tried it again, spat it out. Nah.
A true chef believer. I see it. I feel that way. So I mean,
I'll stick with my fruit and veg. You know, the organic greens.
Yeah. That's right now Beyond Meat. It's not. I'm pretty heavy also in Beyond Meat. But I think it's two completely different companies. I mean, I know a lot of my subscribers that usually they're one or the other. And then we have some who are like me that are in both, kind of like almost hedging it. But I feel that they're not.
Bro, we are catching Beyond Meat, you know, in terms of revenue. We're gonna catch them soon.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Beyond Meat, they expanded very, very quickly.
Yeah,
and you know they are, you know, they're in bed with some big names. You know? And I look at their revenue growth, and I'm like, man, they should really be tearing this up. But it feels like it's slowing down a little bit. But I think I'm looking at their revenue now. So last year they made $406 million top line.
Yep.
You know, and they've been about for a while. Tattoo Chef's just really getting started.
Yeah. And
we're already surpassing half their market cap.
Yeah, we're
gonna catch them, bro. I'm sorry, we're gonna catch them. I'm getting excited. Like, yo, Beyond Me, we're catching you guys.
Me personally, I think it's when it comes to Beyond Meat, since I follow on quite intensely. What I see is different, of course, because usually people say that when it comes to the chef, anyways. People who are really hardcore chef, they say, well, when the chef gets into plant-based meats more and more, they're gonna shut down Beyond. But I asked the question, like, well, what about when Beyond gets into the frozen section as well? because the thing is, it's been a terrible year for Beyond, and that is because of the restaurants shutting down. I mean, the financials, the revenue would be totally different if they were open. Because what people don't see is that, yes, they went down when it comes to the restaurants, especially in the US and Europe, but they flew out of the scale when it comes to stores, about 200% 2020 when it comes to stores internationally, and about, I think, 44% in the US. So the question is, what is going to happen now when people start going out eating at restaurants? Because 50%, I think, 50% of the revenue is from restaurants. So when they open up now, when people take their vaccines, people are longing to get out there again. What's going to happen then? So
that's a good point. That's a very good point. And local McDonald's, they've got like the plant burger, and sorry, they've got a Beyond Burger, like that. Beyond. They've merged the name, I think. Is it Burger King or is it McDonald's? One of them. One of the big names, pretty much.
Yeah, McDonald's.
The McDonald's. Yeah. So I mean, it is frightening. I'm sure they're gonna have a great quarter.
Yeah. What people don't
that's
understand.
a really good point.
Yeah, and what people don't understand is that they made 3 huge deals this year. Basically, the biggest you can do in the food industry. They made a deal with PepsiCo. PepsiCo is the second largest food industry on the planet. It's like over 200 billion in market cap, and they're going to help them making the plant-based snacks, healthy snacks, and plant-based beverages. Now, what the heck do they mean with beverages when it's PepsiCo? Because let's face it, I mean, sodas, that's already plant-based. So, I mean, plant-based friendly. So I'm thinking maybe plant-based dairy, right? So, and that would be huge in itself. And then we have the McDonald's deal, which is going to be on a global scale for about 3 years. And think about the thousands and thousands of restaurants there. And then with Yum Brands. And Yum Brands, they own Taco Bell, KFC, and then we have, I always forget the Pizza Hut, of course. Oh, my cat is there.
Yeah.
So, hey, how you doing, Mowgli? So,
well, you got to deal with Pizza Hut as well.
Yeah, they do. So which means, and people don't understand, because these deals are not going to start until the end of this year. So we're not going to see those revenues until maybe next year. And for me, they're probably going to be humongous. So
let me just put Beyond Meat on my watch list. No, I didn't know they were in bed with Pizza Hut as well.
Yeah.
I knew McDonald's or PepsiCo. Wow. Okay. All right. I have to. What's the valuation? What do you think of the valuations at the moment then? Beyond.
Well, they're about 9 billion now, I think, with a PS ratio about 2022. I mean, obviously they're overvalued. But it's a growth company. It's a disruptive company, right? So I mean, that when people compare Tattoo Chef with Beyond Meat, I don't think it's a fair comparison, because right now that's going to change. Of course, the chef is looking at the frozen section, right? The frozen section market. Beyond Meat is not even interested in looking at catering to vegans or vegetarians. They're focusing totally on the hardcore meat eater. And that's a $1.4 trillion industry, right? I mean, if they can only take 1% of that, that would be 14 billion in revenue. And they're globally the most well-known plant-based brand at the moment, anyways. And considering,
I mean, you're selling me on this in terms of more like some research, like to really look into it. Because again, this was when I looked into Beyond Meat was before I even invested in Tattooed Chef.
Yeah.
So this was going back last year, July. I was looking at the business. Valuations were crazy at the time, and that put me off. But now I might need to look at it seriously again. I love the fact that you're knowledgeable about the company and you know exactly what you own. It's amazing.
Yeah. Now, but it's the whole thing also that, like you said, which is a lot of complaints from a lot of people. I just have to move my cat. He's doing stuff with with the tail. He might.
Oh no!
So, come on, man. Come on, Mowgli. Sorry. So, all right. So basically, the price is an issue for a lot of people, and that's totally understandable. It's even expensive here in Sweden. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the thing is that his whole plan, the CEO, they have a strong CEO in Ethan Brown. His plan is that within the next 2.5 to 3 years, they're going to have the first plant-based meat that's going to be cheaper than ordinary meat. Now, that's a game changer, because when that happens, when people actually find out that this is actually cheaper than meat, I mean, and the whole thing, a lot of people do say that they don't actually super enjoy the flavor, but they put about 10% of their revenues every year on R&D. That's I mean, millions and millions every year. And now last quarter was actually 15%. And people are worried about the margins and stuff like that. It's not so strange. I mean, compare them to Tesla, how much they kept putting on R&D. That's the whole game, right? So
that's the whole point. That's the these are the side effects of investing in a high growth company, you know, exactly. at the beginning, not at the beginning stages, but on course. You know, Monster did the same thing as well. Amazon did the same thing. You know, as long as you're seeing, for me, I have no problems with my companies spending in R&D, sales and marketing, as long as I can see growth in the top line. You know, if they're spending in that and the growth line is decreasing, something's wrong. You know, something's wrong. But as long as beyond, you know, the top line keeps growing with their spending, then, you know, you can't be upset with that at all. Because I think with investors, we just want to see earnings, you know, now. We want to see now. And that's the issue. You know, Kathy Wood has said it many times. We're not looking for profits now.
No, exactly. That's the whole thing. So it's like Tesla. They kept like reinvesting their money constantly, building new facilities, gigafactories, making them more efficient. And that's what I love about the chef, you know, being integrated, vertically integrated business, right? If you control every sector, every part of the business, right, you get those margins, and that's the whole point with any great business, really. So that's kind of what I see in Beyond Meat with time too. I mean, they're opening up 2 facilities in China, 1 in the Netherlands now, opening up
they're
more.
Killing it. They're killing it from an expansion point of view. Killing it.
I'm gonna stop brainwashing you here.
What's the CEO like? Is it owner led or?
I mean, he's the founder too. He's the founder.
He's the founder.
Of that. So he's been doing this for nonstop for I think 13 years. That's how long Beyond Meat has existed.
I love founder-led businesses. I love founder-led.
That's the reason, because I kind of see him as the as the Elon Musk of the plant-based space, because he has such a vision, man. Because what people don't understand, and that's the whole thing with plant-based investing, you know, it's been such a huge craze regarding EVs and Tesla, of course, because they have this mission statement. They're going to change the world with sustainability. Yet no one talks about, and not Kathy Wood, not Shamat, and that drives me crazy. No one's talking about the largest problem with sustainability on the planet, which the UN and their researchers have been stating since 2006, and the World Watch, WWF, they're all stating the same thing, that there's nothing that contributes to the sustainability of the planet more than what you eat. The transport sector is a much smaller part, yet no one almost talks about that. And I understand why that is, because if it is something you do every day, 3 to 5 times a day, obviously you're gonna try to forget about that, because people talk about changing with cars, but really, what is more important? I mean, one is driving a car. It's not essential for most people anyways. Another is eating. Everyone has to eat, right? So you eat 3 to 5 times a day. I mean,
it's a need. It's not like it's not a desire. It's a need.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's true.
So that's why I do see a lot of plant-based companies, including obviously the chef, as growth beasts, because but they're basically where Tesla was 5-6 years ago. No one cared about Tesla. It stood still for 5-6 years. We're just reinvesting, losing a lot of money constantly every year. I think it was 3-4 years ago, they're almost bankrupt because of different loans. And but when everything hits in, that's when you fly up and you do a 10x in 1 year, right?
Facts. So, and you know, that takes a lot of patience and belief, conviction as well. And patience again, you know, that it's very Warren not Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger said many times that the big money is not in the buying and the selling, but it's in the waiting. You know,
exactly.
And this is key to investing in high growth stocks that they're at the beginning of their trajectory,
definitely,
of their growth.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I was gonna end this basically with just asking you about when it comes to investing, like long term or short, investor or trading. So obviously you have the experience of a trader before. It now sounds like you mainly focus on long term investing. But I do believe I've heard you speak about before that there are some times you can think about doing some short term or some swing tradings.
Yeah, when I have time, bro. When I have time, I still day trade. I was off quite a few days last week, so I was day trading with my Discord, and we made quite a bit of money, and I used all of that money, reinvested it in Tattooed Chef, in hymns. I'm building a position in hymns now, so every once in a while I will day trade, because sometimes the market gives you some gifts, and you take it, but all of the proceeds from that go straight into my long-term pots. Yeah.
So I was also going to ask you, what do you feel about options?
Options, I don't really do options. I don't really do options at the moment. It's little stuff. I used to do that back in the day. Just the whole leverage side. I lost a lot of money, made a lot of money, but I just little day trades here, buy a couple of shares, sell it later on in the day, or swing trade for a couple of weeks or months. Yeah, but most of my wealth is in stocks and property long term.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, man, this has been amazing. This was a lot of fun having you here, man.
Thank you, my brother.
I really hope we can do this again.
Yeah, and we're gonna do it live. We're gonna do it live.
Definitely. Yeah, folks. We talked about. I've been talking to Emmanuel now for a couple of weeks, and we tried to get a day that worked for us both. And then yesterday, he contacted me and he said, "Like, what about tomorrow on Friday?" And I was like, "Oh." Freaking out, like, what now? Like, and then when I came home from work today, and it's like he mentioned, which I did suspect, like, should we live stream this? And I'm like, ooh, it's like, should we really? Like, but we did talk about and decide that live streaming would be really fun, definitely.
Yeah, 100%, and it's coming. I think it'll be great to interact with other. The chef. I like the way you called it, the chef. The chef shareholders. It'll be great to just communicate. Because we've all got our money in it. We've all got the common goal of growing our wealth. Yeah. So it'll be great. Yeah. Definitely. Next one, definitely.
All right, man. Loved having you here.
Thank you, brother.
I'm gonna keep following your channel. And folks, just take a look here at his channel.
Oh, you're going to make me blush.
No. If we go back here, so it's Emmanuel Finance, and take a look at he does a lot of Tattooed Chef stocks here. So, and a lot of Palantir, I've understood that's one, and Celsius Holdings. Is there any other companies that you feel something you talk about a lot?
Well, I'm going to start talking about Celsius more. I'm going to be talking about hymns more, and also GoPro. Yeah, those are like my main top 6. Like, I've been really learning about the power of concentration. Yeah, and I have been, closing positions in profits, consolidating my portfolio. I want to own 6 solid businesses. Right. 6, so that's my target. So I have been consolidating a lot of positions, and my channel will be focused around these 6 companies.
Great, man. Yeah. Great, man. Yeah. So, and I'm guessing there's going to come a 7 maybe, or one of the 6 will be Beyond Meat, obviously.
Beyond Meat, I'll look into it again. I really like the way you spoke about Beyond Meat, very passionate. And, the fact that we're both in Tattoo Chef, shows that we have similar vision and similar ideas. Yeah. So it's definitely on my top of my list to research this weekend.
Superman. So, but I hope to see you soon then and talk to you soon. And thanks for everything you're doing, man.
Thank you so much. Cheers, bro. Thank you.
Bye-bye.